meeting party. It is pretty good, which is pretty good. Well, so a couple things. I would love to grab questions. I'm all about the questions. But what I thought we'd do, oh no, in a second, we'll get there. I got to go on my rant first. I got to go on one of my classic Sununu rants. So I thought what I would do is just talk a little bit about party, kind of what we're seeing at the State House. I mean, all the reps, a lot of reps here and a lot of senators, and they can probably tell you what's happening on the floors with a lot of these bills, even more than I can. We pay attention to everything, but as folks know, there's like 1,000 bills that I have literally 3 staffers trying to pay attention to. And some things are moving really, really well, and some things I think did it die, Mike?
Died.
The speed limit died? Oh. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I was all for moving the speed limit on the lake. But yeah, sorry. So you win some, you lose some. But look, let's start here. The state's in great shape, right? I think we all know that. Economically, huge opportunity out there. Especially here. I mean, in Belknap, I think a lot of folks were concerned as the winter hit because I watch the economy, I watch every snowflake. They're pennies from heaven, and especially in the winter, and that really drives whether it's snowmobiling or cross-country skiing and making sure the ski resorts have what they have, because if those things are clicking, we were, obviously very concerned. It wasn't as much ice fishing this year, right? Pond hockey was a bit limited. I think we still had pond hockey. I think the games were shorter and there was only like 3.5 inches of ice, so we had to keep the spectators, from falling through the ice. But we kept it going, and I was just talking to some of these businesses. I mean, things are overall still going really, really strong. Ski resorts are great. So economically, we're still crushing it. Not so much in the rest of the country. Things are definitely slowing down when you look at all the different data points. I won't bore you with the wonky stuff that we look at in the state compared to New England and everywhere else. But we're still the fastest growing state in New England. We still have one of the fastest growing economies in the country. We still have the most efficient, ranked the most efficient government with the most freedoms and all that, those kind of great stats that you all know about. What we're really focusing on, I think, in this legislative session is the fact that it truly is like a split house, right? I mean, it's 201, 198, 199, or I did Nashua? Do we still have Nashua yet? We got one left, so 201. So look, it's really split. And we actually had a day where attendance mattered. The Democrats kind of took control of the things one day because we didn't have enough Republicans show up. And I get you're never going to get 100% attendance all the time. But that's really the dynamic that we're dealing with, which makes me nervous, right? Because we don't want all of a sudden some Democrat version of the budget kind of being thrown onto the floor at the last second because, a few people called out sick and all of a sudden, we're stuck with that. On the Senate side of things, we are really solid. And you have some great new senators here. We got Tim Lang here, and we got Howard. And is Jim here? Yeah. Okay. Jim's old school. Jim's been around a long time. God bless Jim. Holding the line on the East Coast there. So the Senate, we hold very, very well. There's a lot of, I think, really good things that not just come out of the Senate, but there'll be a big push to make sure that whatever comes out of the House, even if the Democrats are trying to push their stuff in it, we kind of get what we want at the end of the day when it comes to crossover and all of that sort of thing. So that's just what's happening legislatively within the State House. Also, is Joe here? Was Joe Kenny?
Joe's here. Yeah, here.
God bless Joe Kenny. Are you back? Hey, Colonel, how are you back there? Yeah. So, there you go. I bring up Joe Kenny. He's doing a phenomenal job, obviously, and the council has been doing a really good job. Kenny, Janet Stevens, Ted Gatzis, and Dave Wheeler have all been doing a phenomenal job. And with a little luck, this year we will definitely have our I will have my 4th nominee to the state Supreme Court out of 5, which is really, if you want to talk about long-term change in the state, controlling the Supreme Court has been absolutely fun, huge, and the council deserves a lot of credit for that. Could even get a 5th. I don't know if the 5th Supreme Court justice is going to retire or not. We're trying to encourage him as strong as we can. Take retirement. It's a heck of a golden parachute. He should jump on it. And if that were the case, we'd get 5. But even in the circuit, in these superior courts have been phenomenal. So I'm just kind of bringing up some of these things you don't hear headlines about. But in terms of getting that Republican conservative infrastructure really rebuilt after having it not decimated for 20 years, but not having any real control over it for 20 years, we've really made some amazing strides in the first 6 going into our 7th year here. So let's talk a little bit about the budget as well. I mean, there's 1,000 pieces in the budget, and some of which people like, some of which people don't like. One of the big ones everyone's talking about is the education change in terms of the formula. And the opportunity there is it really allows education freedom accounts to get bigger and stronger all across the state for more families by increasing eligibility. School choice has been a huge success for us here in just the first couple of years. We're being talked, you don't realize, in case you didn't notice, I'm traveling nationally a lot lately. But people across the country are talking about it. I was at an event maybe 3 weeks ago, and former Governor Jeb Bush was there, and it was kind of cool. Jeb Bush is like looking for me through a crowd. I'm like, what is he doing? He's coming right at me. But he went out of his way through this crowd of 100 people just to come up and say, hey, we're watching what you guys did. Not only did you pass it, but you're crushing it. So nationally, we are getting a lot of attention in a really positive way for what we've been able to do with school choice, which is really great. The other big one is we're changing the formula this year, which automatically drives an increase in the amount that we give to charter schools. We have some awesome charter schools in the state, and they're always kind of held below the average public school funding, but now we can actually move that forward. Maureen Mooney, Representative Mooney, has moved something along that's going to be put into the budget that allows that to even kind of be put on steroids a little bit, which is a huge opportunity for charter schools. Frank's been doing a pretty good job about trying to make sure these investments so new charter schools can get built. Commissioner Abelu, so they really can get built across the state, to be sure. And the other big one, which is a challenge, this is a hard one, no one ever wants to touch the third rail, is regulatory reform. So licensure and regulatory reform is a huge opportunity. So why is this so hard in the live free or die state? It should be easy, right? It should be so easy to do. Because everyone has a barber that is going to complain that we're reforming the Barbering and Cosmetology Board. Or everybody knows a landscape architect. Or everybody knows a real estate appraiser that doesn't want their system changed. And so it really takes courage to stand up and say, no, we're not just going to pick on this group or this group. We're going to have kind of wholesale change across the board. Every year these boards get a little bigger, a little more protectionist, a little less live free or die. And it's kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. And over 20 or 30 years, we've built up this massive bureaucracy where pretty much we license anybody just to do their job. And that I don't think that's right. I think there's certain things you need to license for safety reasons, of course. But there's a lot of this stuff that is just fluff. It is just protectionism. And so my approach is to kind of wholesale take them all at once. Look at reforms for all of them, simplify the whole process, really open this state up for jobs and opportunity. But it really takes courage. And I'm gonna create the analogy to what happened to the disaster that's Washington. I get so frustrated with Republicans in Washington because even they don't have the guts to propose a balanced budget. And it drives me crazy because someone's always complaining they don't have the courage to stand up and do the fight. You guys do it, right? We do it here. It's not easy to do a balanced budget. But the Senate, the House, the governor, everybody gets involved. Even the citizens understand that is what absolutely has to be done. And the state is so much more successful for it. Regulatory reform is very similar. Because it's very easy to say we're not going to do it. It's very easy to kick the can down the road. It's very easy to ignore it and we'll just let the next legislature deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. It is. And that's why over 30 years we kind of have death by 1,000 cuts. So I'm asking everybody, for the House and Senate members here especially, have the courage to hold the line. It's not going to be easy. You're going to get a lot of criticism. But at the end of the day, this state will be fundamentally transformed leaps and bounds over the other 49 in terms of the opportunity we're creating for workers and businesses just to do what they want to do and get government out of the way. And that's what Live Free or Die is all about. So I hope we can hold the line on that. I also love we're getting rid of the communications tax. You didn't even know you had a communications tax. I barely realized it either, but it's like $27 million tax. We're going to wipe that one right off the books. Every time you make a phone call, the government's taking a piece of it. Enough of that. So these guys are going to, I think, get rid of yet another tax for us, which is always good. And then finally, just let's talk about the party, right? The state of the party. We didn't win as many seats as we wanted, right? I really wanted 230, 235 House seats. I think it's very doable. And I don't want to get into blame. There's no individual person or anything to blame. At the end of the day, we didn't have the right messaging. We get out-messaged, right? And we have to own that a little bit, right? It drives me crazy to see the Democrats win when they have an inferior product. They have big government solutions, but they get away with it because, boy, I'll give them credit on the messaging. They know how to galvanize. They don't split each other apart. They are very good at, frankly, defining us as extreme or whatever it is. They define us before we can even define ourselves. And so what we need to do, I think, is just whatever we can. And I'm not here telling you exactly what the message has to be, but appreciate that we're not great at it. And that when we stay galvanized around a singular message, when we stay focused on those core things that we're really good at, like limited government and local control and low taxes and no income tax and no sales tax, these core things are what can get a lot of independents on our side. And you can't win in November if you don't have the independents. So whatever we can do to stay galvanized around a positive message, not tear ourselves apart, get stuff done, and we're always pretty good at that, and then run on those successes. And we're going to have a lot of successes, but run on what galvanizes us. Now, don't let the Democrats split us apart. And if we do that, 24, regardless of what happens presidentially or on the top of the ticket, 24 can be really, really good. And there's no reason, I know we'll hold the Senate, but there's no reason we can't get some of these seats back. And who do you know? Who do you know that hasn't run for office yet? Probably not many people. This is New Hampshire, right? We all run for something. But who do you know, especially the younger generation, right? That younger crowd, I'll call it the 35 and unders. And I can't believe that I'm considering them substantially younger than me. I act like I'm 25, but I'm not. But really empowering that next generation of voter to get on our team. There's a huge opportunity there. Sometimes we lose sight of it, right? I see Ryan Terrell sitting in the back there. He still looks like he's like 15 or something. But there is a whole generational vote there that we got to go out and tap into. And if we do that, again, we can be successful. Democrats go after it. They don't do it in a single push. Democrats do not advertise to constituents. They influence. And that's why they're good at it. They use media, they use, all the modern ways of communication and social media and social influence and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And we can make fun of it, but look, they're using it, right? And that generation is using it. So as much as, I was one of the first guys in the country to ban TikTok, right? But there you go. I don't know, that whole company scares the hell out of me, by the way. That is real. And it's not just TikTok. It doesn't stop at TikTok. It's WeWa, it's all these other Chinese companies that are really coming here. We forget to, we were the first state to ban the Confucius Institutes, right, out of our universities. We banned those guys and sent them packing, which was great. But how the next generation uses some of those tools, we have to appreciate that it's real. They're getting influenced by it, and we have to kind of create our own methods to do that so that we are connecting with that generation voter. And if we do that, man, I really do believe we're going to get not just a lot of the seats back, we'll get more of the independents back. I'm talking to Belknap. You guys get it, right? You guys aren't struggling here in terms of finding Republicans, which is great. You guys really are a model for the state that has become a model for the country. And I mean that quite sincerely, right? You're right at the heart of this state. You're right at travel and tourism. You do it right. You promote businesses. You believe in the individual. And that is what is making us so successful with the other 49 states. And that's why it's pretty awesome when I travel the country. And people are like, explain how you do this again? Wait, you have no sales tax? You have no income tax? You don't have any of these taxes. How do you even run? How do you function? How are you doing it so well? And we talk about that aspect of believing in the locals and empowering them and not having big government stand on top and just telling folks what to do. So it's a huge opportunity. It's a great bragging point for us across the country. But at the end of the day, we still have to close the deal. This is about winning elections, guys. Cannot govern if you don't win. And if you can't cross the line in November, then I don't even want to talk to you. I want candidates who are winners. I want candidates who get across the line, who drive the message, most conservative candidate that can win in November and get stuff done in 25. And if we do that, man, and we can sell it and we can influence it, I think we have a huge opportunity ahead of us. So I will go away quietly. We can just sit at the bar and drink, or I can take questions, whatever you guys want. All right. So Tim, I'm going to point to center line. You tell me who to. You pick out the questions.
Vicky, what do you got?
I want to know if HB 619 comes across your desk.
Yeah. What's the? I don't know what that is. But I don't know bills by numbers. What's that? What's the topic of the bill?
It's the prohibition of transgender surgery for minors. Will you sign it?
Yeah. So two bills that are really come up. Yesterday, I think they were talking about. Was it 619?
All day at the State House.
Yeah. And the parental bill of rights, right?
Yeah.
So fundamentally, those bills have great stuff in them. There's no question. Here's the problem. They're going to change 3 or 4 times before they potentially get to my desk or not, right? So we'll take a look at where they go. Parental bill of rights is the big one. That one has to get done. There's such an opportunity there. So again, I don't know what the final bills are going to look like. But yeah, we have to make sure that the provisions are addressed.
So are you saying
I gotta be honest, I don't know what else is in the bill. I think there's a lot of stuff in that bill, and I don't know. But I'll take a look. As it kind of gets closer, gets through the process, I will absolutely take a look at it. But I don't know everything that's in 619. I'll take a look at the details.
So this gentleman right here is the
Yeah.
owner
Of
of the
course.
establishment we're at.
Woo!
I'm an independent. Okay, why do I want to become a Republican, and why do I want to run for office? That's what I want.
Why? So when Republicans focus on what we do best, which is limited government, like we're the group that's going to get out of your way. Local control, which means you have way more say in terms of what happens to your property taxes, what happens to your town, what happens to your school, what happens, which roads get paved, right? Local control. Low taxes, because it ain't my money, it's your money, and the state has too much of it to start with.
You got a lot of it.
Yeah.
You got a lot of
Oh,
it.
too much, right?
Way too.
And then at the end of the day, individual responsibility. Do you want a party that believes that they're in charge, top down? And they're gonna, don't worry, we know best what's for you. We'll let you know. That's what the Democrats are pushing. And it's at an unprecedented level.
I don't like
So
people telling me what to do.
look, it's this simple. I'm the governor and you're smarter than I am. Because you're the voter. You're local. You know what's important for your business, not me. You know what's happening in this town a lot more than I do. So it's a party that empowers the individual and believes in that individual. And I got to tell you, even when I disagree with you, even if you are left-wing nut, you know what? You know what's going on in this town even better than I do. And as much as we might disagree, that's the way it is, right? And if your selectmen aren't doing a good job, you can go fire them. If your school board's not doing a good job, you go fire them. That's the empowerment of the New Hampshire model. That's what I think when Republicans focus around those core values, which we all pretty much agree on.
Believable people that don't tell fucking lies.
There you go.
Okay?
Be genuine. Be
And I see
genuine.
too much.
Yeah.
And I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Actually, I can deal with it.
All right. Hello
Hey.
again, Mr. Sununu. My name is Mike Foote. I live on 222 Roller Coaster Road.
Nice property.
I have 260 acres of property
Wow.
right here.
Okay.
And I have done well by my work with New Hampshire Timberland Owners Association and all the foresters who have given me support. The reason I have a nice piece of property is because we have qualified foresters who come out of UNH. We have whole programs here. So if we negate the whole licensure, which is actually they hold
Yep.
the economic, there are unprincipled people out there who do not know.
Right.
And so in this here, as a member of New Hampshire Timberland Owners Association, as a large landowner in Ward 1 in Laconia, I would encourage you to have forestry license, which supports, which comes out of UNA.
Sure. So this is a good example of the licensure issue. So on forestry, for example, another one would be landscape architects. There's already a national licensure, right? That is almost the exact same thing as the state license. The state license, I think, was created to protect the industry and take money. Whereas you can get the national license, which talks about safety, practice, availability. So we don't want to, we love foresters. We love the timber owners. But we kind of have a state license on top of a federal license on top of a national association. And so I'm just trying to simplify the process. So yeah, I think you should have that national license because it pretty much mimics what is in the New Hampshire one. And it just simplifies the process. And that way everyone can keep cutting trees, keep doing it the right way without the state getting in the way. Yeah, that's it.
All right, right over here, Governor.
Yeah.
One right question right here, Lauren.
For clarity on Representative Carter's question about the transgender surgeries for minors,
Yep.
are you for or against the
No, I think there's only one place that does transgender surgeries and I think that's the Dartmouth, and you need parental permission and all that. So, I don't know what else is in the bill, so I just got to be careful in the bill. But obviously, we shouldn't be doing transgender surgeries for minors. I mean, I hope that's not like a debatable issue. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Right over here. Yeah.
So the question is, how do we make the interest and dividends tax go away faster? if you guys, if the legislature wants to do it, I'm all for it. It's going to be gone in a matter of like 2 or 3 years. So it kind of, it keeps trickling down. It's on the right path, which is great. But if there was a way to accelerate it, I'm open to it. What's that? Florida? Florida with their 6% sales tax? Yeah, that's a good idea. What are you, nuts? Are you crazy? Florida's taxes are out of control. Yeah.
Right over here, Governor, this gentleman right here.
I'm interested. Yeah, and ours is going away. Ours will be at 0 in about 3 years. Yeah, right there.
So right over here, Governor, this gentleman right here.
Yeah. Hey.
Thank you for being here tonight. So, you've done a lot of great things for the education. So, you've done a lot of great things with education. I think starting with Frank at the DOE, to Ryan, to the state board, a lot of awesome things. Slightly different question from before, but the Parental Bill of Rights. So last year, your Attorney General's office sent out the letter saying basically, and I'm paraphrasing, that if we pass this law, it would contradict school policies. So as a Dillon's Rule state, where the state creates the laws, why would that be problematic, and why can't we just... So then I guess the second part of that would be, with these parental right bills, obviously you might not know what's in it, but what would be problematic that would be in it that would cause you not to sign it?
So right now there are, I think, 13 parental bill of rights bills across this country that are in courts, and some of them have already lost. So we've passed bills before where it gets challenged, and we don't protect our legal hide, if you will, and we lose in the court, and sometimes they get dragged out in court for years. So I think I don't want to speak for the Attorney General, but I think what he was saying is, guys, you're going to lose in court. And if you do that, then what have we achieved? Whereas my understanding is he's been working with the legislature on this one, and he's like, okay, we've kind of taken care of the things where we would lose so that it's rock solid. I mean, to pass a bill only to lose in court, that's exactly what's happening in Florida.
So much better than about these
way better.
This year.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess, again, what would be problem, I mean, I guess it's hard to say without him here and actually looking at the content of the bill. But again, there's a lot of folks that is a #1 priority right now. And the New Hampshire Journal coefficient poll, right? 79% of Granite Staters want parental rights done.
Yep. No, I'm right with you.
So this is on your side. This is the
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. It was really about making sure we don't lose in court. Because my head would explode if we went through all this hassle and all the criticism and all the craziness to only lose in court. So my understanding is the way it's written today is legally bound, legally sound. And whether it passes or not, I don't know, but we'll see.
And if I could just add, so the New Hampshire School Board Association, which sent out the template and policy to all the school boards, basically adopting this transgender policy in the schools, they actually came out last March and pulled the policy, basically told schools, hey, you need to consult legal counsel because of the court cases that are going that they're losing on. So this issue has really swung way too far, and we really need to rein it in, and we need your support to sign that bill.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you.
Yeah, get it to my desk. Yeah.
Senate bill.
Oh, it does. Okay, yeah. There's a House and a Senate version, I think, right now. So, and at some point they'll hopefully come together, right?
Who else?
Thank you.
Yeah.
You, sir.
Hey.
Governor, what can we do to set an example nationwide to address the intimidation and physical attacks on conservatives just simply speaking their mind or having a difference of opinion? It almost seems like the intimidation and the physical attacks are almost condoned or ignored.
Yeah. No, nationally, look, there is an assault on conservatives. It's just, I mean, that's what's happening nationally. I think we're actually in a better place than most because we have so much local control. So in other states, well, you see some of these school board meetings that could just go crazy in other states, right? Some of these states are places where they normally don't they have like one school board meeting a year or one every other month or something like that. So to even have one and to let people come in is a rarity. Whereas in New Hampshire, you can go to your school board meeting like almost every week, right? So for the most part, we're in much better shape because we have such a consistent empowerment and accountability with our local school boards without the state mandating from above, right? You can go to your meetings almost every week. You know everybody that's there. You're having your arguments with your friends and neighbors, frankly. So for the most part, we keep it more civil than most. And I think that's where we've been a very good example of local control is the key to all of that. When you have a lack of transparency, when you have behind the closed door meetings, when you don't have 91A provisions, where you can't, find out what was being discussed and why, that's where across the country folks get themselves into trouble. So as much transparency as you can put on the process, and as much you can stay involved, even when there's not a hot topic issue. Go to your school board meeting. Show your face. Be a known name. Be a known face, right? And overall, I do think we do it fairly well, but the key to all of it is local control and not saying, hey, I don't like what my school board did. And this is where some of us might disagree. Do I like what the school board in Lebanon and Hanover and Keene does? No. No, those places are nuts. If they're following the law and they're not violating, the safety of kids and all of that, I say go fire them. Don't ask the governor to fire them. The citizens have to stand up and go fire them. That's actually the power that we have that most states don't. So maintain your involvement even in good times, right? If you're only showing up in the bad times, then you're not a known face. No one knows who you are. But stay involved and get other parents to come in with you and be involved. I think it's such an important thing. That's where you guys decide. Most every other state, the teachers' contracts are decided by the governor. They're not in this state. You guys decide them. I decide them in my town. You decide in your town, right? That's an amazing power you have over the curriculum in terms of making sure the teachers are responsive to you and making sure there's civility, if you will, and you're avoiding hopefully some of this negativity, the attacks, the harassment, whatever it might be, just going into the meetings.
They've almost attached racism to civility.
Oh yeah. Now we're getting into the woke cancel culture stuff, which is out of control, out of friggin' control.
Thank you.
So, Governor, we have a question from Mike, who's a Vietnam veteran over here.
Hey, Mike. Well, there's my first vote for a 5th term right there. No, look. So I'm traveling around. The question is really about running for president and all that. And look, I can tell you exactly what I'm doing. Unlike some of these other folks, I'm not coy about anything. I'm pretty out front. After managing a pandemic and 4 terms as governor, I don't really care what people think. I'm just going to tell you the straight story every time. My mission nationally is making this party bigger. My frustration, and I said this to the executives at Fox, I was with them about a week and a half ago, and we all get along. I was with Kilmeade, I was with Hannity, I was with all these guys. I said, here's my problem, guys. We're talking on Fox News, we talk in the same echo chamber, to the same crowd every time. We're not wrong, but we're just talking in the same echo chamber. I said, why are you trying to make the party bigger? Why are you trying to expand the reach? Don't change what you're saying, but how you say your approach and how you bring in a bigger audience is so important in terms of winning in November. They don't quite get it, they disagree. So my mission is, again, trying to make the party bigger, trying to bring the next generation on board. As tough as 24 is going to be, it's going to be a nightmare in 2028 or 2032. Republicans are going to get crushed nationally unless we're doing that. So that's the first mission. If it turns into something bigger, it does, but that's not my focus. My focus really is New Hampshire and really making sure on a national level we win with whoever the candidate is. We have a winner that can cross the line in November.
So we have Kevin all the way in the back over there.
It's always on in my friend. I don't go far from it.
Howard! There's a gentleman back there with a question. Where is he?
We're trying to get Howard to help out, and he's just waving.
I know.
Dan! Thank you, Senator. Good to see you, too.
I'll buy the next round.
Dan,
There you go.
you had a question, right?
What you got? Who's out there? All right. I don't know what's happening. What's happening there?
Everyone, we'll move.
Finding out
Senator,
the
what's
question.
happening back there?
Yep, we'll move. You got a question? Go ahead.
Hey, how are you?
I'm the membership chair for Belknap County, and we have been working on increasing our membership.
Yeah,
And
Belknap's
one
doing
of-
great.
And one of the things that I realized as we were doing this is that we hold a majority in almost every city and town in Belknap County in the selectmen, except for Tony. And we hold only one majority in school board. So it was
is that
amazing
right?
to me that in Belknap County, we are not winning on school board, and I'm just curious how we do that.
Yeah, how do you, so I didn't realize that. So you have the majority all across the county except when it comes to school boards. The Republicans really only control one school board in this county? Holy cow. I didn't know that. Why? I don't know why that is, honestly. Is that because there's more attention? The candidates focus more on the selectman seats as opposed to the school boards? I don't know. I think it's important. Look, people think my dad got me involved in politics. It's not true at all. It was my mom. She ran for school board before he ran for planning board. Because when you have 8 kids, you want to run for the school board. You're not, you protect your interest, right? So I don't know why that is, but what's happening in schools is so important right now. Can be, I'll call it contentious, but it's just so critical to have that voice there. Yeah, I can't tell you why that is, but and we've lost some tough school board races down where I am. I live more on the seacoast, and we've run some great candidates, and we lose tough races. I don't think it's a teachers union thing because they're just not that strong here in the state. I couldn't tell you. You just got to find those moms and dads that really put their kids first and want to stand up and challenge it. Yeah.
So, Governor, I do want to show you Kyle. Hey, Kyle.
Kyle!
So Kyle, there's a Republican running for the school board.
There you go.
Guilford.
And the only school board in Belknap County that is Republican.
Well, one more won't hurt. We'll take him. Good for you, brother. Yeah.
So, Nikki, last question. What do you got?
Why don't you want to sign the Parents' Bill of Rights? I don't understand.
Oh no, I said I would sign the Parents' Bill of Rights. Yeah. What are you hearing?
This year, but you said it last year too, and you.
Yeah, because last year it would have lost in court. So they changed it this year so it won't get crushed in court. And that's the key. That's it. It's just about making sure it survives. That's it. That's it.
Are you sure about that?
As far as I know.
Any other questions for the governor?
Yeah, let's say James.
Is that the governor?
Oh my God, there's my, look at that flat top right there. On that embarrassing moment, we're gonna exit. Hey, you guys are doing great, and I'm not just saying this. You know you're the Republican model of the state. We're doing great. It's about finding good candidates, running all the way, and staying galvanized. We can disagree, but staying galvanized for the next year and a half through all the craziness of the First of the Nation primary, which is gonna be fun. Make the candidates sit in your living room. I gotta tell you, that's my biggest fear. Is that we're going to have too many candidates that don't think they need to sit in your living room, don't think they need to sit here and have a beer, that are only worried about fundraising and all that kind of nonsense. Force them to come in and listen to you, because that's how we're so fundamentally different. And it'll be interesting to see, who can do it and who can't. So.
Trump or DeSantis?
I guess we're going to find out. So, there we go. Thank you guys. Be good.
So guys, remember